Next Pharma Talk featuring our Pharmacy of the Year, Health Mart Pharmacy of the Year finalists. A little round of applause, right? My name is Mike Seelar. I'm the National VP for Pharmacy Retail Operations. Introducing to the left of me here, I have Carrie Bates. Carrie is the owner of Rocky Ridge Drug Co. in Vestavia, Alabama. Did I say that right?
Vestavia.
Vestavia, thank you. Vestavia, I should know that. I've been enough Alabama, right? So Alex Anderson, the owner of Oswald's Pharmacy in Naperville, Illinois, alongside pharmacist in charge, Melissa McLean, so welcome. And then we also have Dave Randolph, the owner of Dave's Pharmacy in Alliance, Nebraska, with his pharmacy manager and daughter, Michaela Smith.
And I didn't tell him that.
we know. We have it all inside. So I look forward to hosting the panel today. If you're all ready, you want to start with some questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll kind of go left or right. We'll go back and forth a little bit, all right? So let's start with the first one, Carrie, okay?
Okay.
And then I'll ask each of you the same thing. Set the stage for our audience. Talk about your community and how you support your community and what's the environment around it. Like, is it rural? Is it suburban? Is it other?
Okay. Yeah, Vestavia Hills is right outside of Birmingham, Alabama. It's a residential community mainly. There's about 40,000 residents there. Actually, the property where the pharmacy is an old dairy farm. So the original barn that was the dairy farm was across the street from us. It's really cool. It's a little retail setting. So there's a lot of people have lived in that area for a long time. And then, of course, there's a lot of people who move in and out because of the industry in Birmingham. But it's a walkable community. It's a tight-knit community. And we serve those residents, but we also serve a lot of the neighboring communities as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Alex, we'll go up next.
So we're located in Naperville, Illinois, as you mentioned. It's a suburb about 30 miles west of Chicago. And it just actually overtook Joliet as the third largest city in Illinois. So it's big. And, and that's kind of what I talked about a little bit yesterday was how much noise there is that we have to get through to people to let them know an independent pharmacy still exists in an area that's just crawling with chains and big box stores. And so we got our work cut out for us in that regard.
I remember you were talking about it on stage yesterday as well. So, and then Dave?
Alliance is in rural western Nebraska. We're in the Sand Hills. We're a railroad hub for Burlington Northern. The population is about 8,000 to 9,000, depending on if the railroad's hiring or not. But we're mainly a ranching, farming community. For people that are like you guys from bigger areas, the easiest way for me to explain it is we're 50 miles from our nearest Walmart and 50 miles from our nearest Walgreens and about 3 hours from our nearest CVS. So,
excellent. Well, I'm going to come back to Dave then. I'm going to start the next question for you. A lot of you're talking about diversifying your services in your pharmacies when you were on stage yesterday in the general session. Talk about those again with the audience here, kind of outside of the prescription fill. What are some of those services that you're offering to your patients? And then I might bring in Michaela and Melissa to talk about how you're marketing that to your community, okay? And of course you as well.
Okay.
I'll start with Dave.
sorry.
I won't pick on you each
Dave.
time.
you can take it too.
Dave,
Go ahead.
They're working well together across the board, I've noticed. So.
Are you good to go? Oh, okay. Well, we do, again, like I said yesterday, we do the vaccinations that hopefully everybody is doing. And then medication therapy management, MTMs, we do that as well, pretty robust there. And then we do point of care testing for strep and influenza. And if they're positive per protocol, we can write them a script, which is a huge marketing thing. And I know she'll talk about that because it's saving a trip to the doctor. It's not just going to the doctor, then you're coming to me for the script. Then we do labs for A1C, lipids, and INRs. And again, we're able to do that for less than what they would be able to get it at the hospital or from a doctor's office. And then we do nutritional, vitamin and supplement consultations. There's a couple of booths here that have that. That's been a really big thing because you don't realize how many people are actually using supplements, and there's no PBMs with that. And then we just hired our wound care nurse. And so that's to be determined yet, but so far it's starting out really well.
Excellent. You had a nice win there. I heard yesterday you had the first kind of patient come to your pharmacy.
Yeah,
right?
First walk-in patient. So
that was great.
Yep.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Kayla, anything to offer on kind of how you market that to the community?
So marketing, of course, we try to go multiple different avenues. We do the traditional bag stuffer staple to the outside of the bag, newspaper, digital marketing with Google, and then social media. But we try to go beyond that to really reach people in our communities through attending community events. We put together custom donation baskets for the various silent auctions and things like that our small town does to support people who are going through hard times. And we put in there our products that we sell, so when people get them for free or win them in auctions, they then try them, love them, and come to us to find them. And then we participate in things in the community. I serve on the chamber board, Dave serves on various boards, and so does our ownership. And when you participate on that level, you're able to network with other people in the community to then spread your services through word of mouth and kind of start the word, and then encourage it to be spread that way too. So marketing for us isn't just one simple fix. It's kind of death by many swords, I guess.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Alex?
Well, how about you talk about
I
all
love
of
it.
our lovely
You come on
services
in.
in
I love it.
pharmacy,
There you go.
and then I'll talk
Sure.
marketing.
Sure. So right when I started with Oswald's, we partnered with APHA and Operation Diabetes and Midwestern College of Pharmacy, which is a local college of pharmacy. So we have students that come to our pharmacy and they do blood pressure testing, blood glucose screening, and then A1C testing as well, and that's free for our community. I'm their preceptor, so I get to precept and kind of shape the future of pharmacy, which is kind of neat. So we've been doing that, and as far as like marketing for that, we did bag stuffers, just traditional marketing as well on social media. I know that Midwestern also puts out information for that too, so we can get a more broad variety of people that come, not just like Naperville community, but it has reached out a little bit farther than that as well, which is kind of neat. I am also a preceptor for a couple different pharmacies, a college of pharmacies. I know my alma mater, which is in Chicago, and then University of Kansas and University of Pittsburgh, and we've had students coming from there, and just it's really neat to be able to see pharmacy students from across the country and see how their curriculum is different, and also just being able to show them the world of independent pharmacy that a lot of us don't get.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden gem, and so being able to show that, I think, would help increase the longevity of independent pharmacy in general, because then more pharmacists are aware that it's an option. It's an option to go into. You can open your own pharmacy. You can really, really help your community and get involved as well.
What about like the concierge service, pet meds, anything
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
We're getting into pet meds as well. That's one thing that's really neat. It's
Yep.
near and dear to my heart. I've had several special needs little animals at home. I had a dog that was in a wheelchair for 7 years. He was the best. And so I have a soft spot for animals and helping animals, dogs, cats, etc. So it's really neat. We've been going around to vet offices and offering our services, letting them know, like, hey, we're here. We have, contracts. We can get some of these specialty pet medications. What can we do for you? What can we have on our shelves for you to make your job easier? And I think that has gone a long way with helping increase our people coming into the store too.
Excellent. Love to hear that. It was fun too to share that we had a former employer together too, so that was neat to see and chat with you about that. So, Alex, what else do you want to add to that?
I think marketing, like a lot of what Michaela talked about, it's really similar. We do marketing on social media, a lot of Google. I think that's like our number one ad spend is on Google. And then getting involved in the community is really important. Nancy, our lovely marketing tech, is your title now. We do a lot of community events with the Park District, with assisted living facilities. We do a lot of gift baskets too, and it's nice to put your gift card in there, so then they got to come back and spend it, along with just other marketing materials. So yeah, those are kind of our big ones. And then getting involved. My father, who's the previous owner, he was a Rotarian president. My grandfather was a Rotarian president. My great-grandfather was a Rotarian. So I gotta be a Rotarian president, I think. So
Yeah.
so that's next on the agenda.
Thanks, Alex. Carrie, how about you?
Yeah, it's in our mission statement that we provide individualized care for patients. So beyond just filling a prescription, whatever it takes to do that is what we do. So things like that are deliveries, of course, making sure their vaccination schedule is complete, packaging their medications. We work a lot with caregivers to, help, and especially out-of-town caregivers that maybe their mother lives in town with us, but they live in a different state. So we really work with those families to help provide that care. We do wellness screenings with our local and state government, but also with our teachers in the state of Alabama. So that's been a great thing that we do. And then naturally, we've expanded our boutique that we've talked a lot about and do community events within the boutique. And recently, this past year, we started an online store for our boutique. So that's been a really fun way to branch out and something new. As far as marketing, we do similar things. Social media is big for us, and we manage that by a social media content calendar. So that's something that we don't just do on the fly. It takes a lot of strategy and planning in advance to do that. And we do a lot of partnering with our schools and sponsoring different events within our schools. And then I have the honor of serving as the chair of our Chamber of Commerce, which I know is something y'all have been involved in as well. But this year, Rocky Ridge is getting a lot of press, getting to be the chair. So hopefully that'll be something we continue. But we just really try to have face-to-face relationships too. We go and visit our doctors that we work with a lot and see them in their office and see how we can solve the problems that they're having, as well as some of the assisted living facilities. How is it that we can serve their residents better?
Thank you for that, Kara. That's great. My next question is really around, I got a chance, obviously to see your videos multiple times, each time kind of bringing a tear to my eye, because it's always about your team, right? You really talked about your team yesterday during the general session. If you had to offer some advice to the group here, what kind of professional tip, some leadership things that you learned along the way as you've been in all your pharmacies? And Carrie, I'll start with you, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think I try to lead from a place of service. Yes, my team works for me, but I also in turn try to work for them. I try to provide them the tools and resources that they need to do their job well, and so I spend a lot of time doing that. I want them to have an enjoyable work day, an enjoyable work experience, and so I just really try to spend a lot of my time making sure that they're taken care of, and then what I've found is that when they're happy, they're taking care of the patients.
Love that. Alex?
I'll kind of speak to the store, and Melissa can speak more to the pharmacy. As we mentioned in the video, I think just like the staff empowerment and really listening to what their interests are and respecting that and giving them an opportunity to do that, and then just having good communication with all your staff, being open. It's a family business. It's not, I've worked in corporate businesses that have a very strict hierarchy, and there's just a lot more communal feel that I think that you get in a family business that we want to hold on to, while also, being respectful of people's interests and then what we need done around the store. So it's kind of striking that balance between too much HR and none at all.
Fair enough. Melissa, anything to add?
Yeah, I feel like at Oswald's, we all kind of instill a sense of responsibility to our Oswald's family and our employees. Kind of like how you want to make your mom and dad proud when you're growing up, and you want to make good decisions to make your family proud and see those kind of things. I feel like our employees want to make us proud. Like my techs want to make me see a great thing that they did. They want me to notice when they have a great idea and they want to share it. I want to make Alex proud. I want our store to grow. I want his family legacy to live on. And I instill that in my team so that they all have that sense of responsibility that they want to do good for Oswald's.
Love that. Thank you. Dave or Kayla?
Well, at Dave's, we like to keep it like a family atmosphere. You spend too much time at work, especially in the pharmacy, not to have fun and have that kind of atmosphere. But again, I go back to what my grandpa taught me, which was originally and still is lead by example. So if I expect my technician, my delivery driver to go clean the bathroom, guess what? Dave's cleaning the bathroom. It sucks, but I do it. Haul out recycling, I'm hauling out recycling. I've worked with pharmacists, I've worked with store owners in my past that you wouldn't catch them dead in the bathroom. And that's not the way to lead. And that's not the way to get buy-in from your staff. When they see you doing the menial tasks that nobody wants to do, they're not going to complain as much when you tell them, go clean the bathroom, go take the trash out, go do whatever. So that's what we do.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
And I think something else kind of playing on what you said, when you have that like tight-knit family relationship, your staff does want to work hard for you and want to please you. But sometimes you are on two different levels as far as expectations. So we found that having a set goal and expectation for every staff member, how they can achieve it, is really setting them up for success. They want to do their best for us, but what is that best? So that's something that we've really worked hard to develop is staff programs that really set them up for success, set them up to work through a tiered level, you know, to increase their pay and how they can take that into their own hands, which means they're zealous and they want to achieve those things. Because who doesn't want more pay in this economy, you know? But then we also try to give back to them in the little ways. We've got a few different staff programs that encourage positivity in the pharmacy. It is a standard at Dave's to go above and beyond. That's our expectation is 110%. But we also want to recognize that. So we've developed programs like You're Crushing It is one that people write down when they see a fellow staff member doing a fabulous job or going above and beyond for a patient. They write that down, they put their name and that staff member's name on it, and it goes into a box. And at our biannual, we do 2 trainings every year, and we draw those out and we read them all, and we give kudos. And then we draw one for a gift card, you know, and the person that wrote it and the person that received it get a gift card. Just do the little things to recognize the fact that your staff does put in, you know, the blood, sweat, and the tears, and they care for your patients and love your patients for you. So that's what we do for our people.
Thank you for that, Michaela. All right, I'm going to shake things up a little bit. We're going to start with Alex and Melissa, because we're going back and forth, right? So, but I want you to double click into, you know, as you've led your teams, you know, and you've managed them over the years, what have you learned about yourself? What kind of skill sets you, like some advice you give to the crowd out there is like, it's okay, I did this, but I learned from this, and this is kind of how I manage my pharmacy and my team moving forward. So is there anything you can kind of double click down on that?
I think the adage of hire slow, fire fast. And, you know, you hope you don't have to fire anybody because that's never fun, you know, being a small business owner, just not something you want to do. And that's why, you know, we've learned from just trying to take more time to hire people, which is not fun when you're down staff, especially in the pharmacy. But yeah, and the downside when you do hold on to a team member that isn't ideal or doesn't really fit the organization and how that influences other people. And yeah, it's just not a good scenario. So we've gotten better at, when it's just not working out, cutting ties sooner than letting it drag on and kind of bring some of the other team down that you do like having around.
True transparency, that's great. So, Melissa, anything to add to that? Or?
Yeah, I feel like giving our employees something they can own is really important. So all of our employees have something that they own, something that they're responsible for, something that they are in charge of, and then we follow up frequently to see how they're doing with that and see if they need any help. You know, offer any ideas. They could bounce ideas off of us, and I think that when people have something that they're responsible for and they know how important their job is to our company, then it makes them do a better job and makes everything go a lot better.
Excellent. Kayla, how about you?
I think just clear communication, that's a big thing for us, having clear communication with our staff, with each other, and then remembering that even on the worst days, you're a team. It's, you know, us against the issue, not us against each other because there's an issue.
Yeah.
And that's how we can be a family business and still have Thanksgiving together and enjoy it. So.
I love that. Dave?
I think, again, like kind of what Melissa said, if you give your employees a sense of empowerment, we like our pharmacists, of course, to practice at the top of our license by doing as much as we legally can to get out of the box, not only for more reimbursement, but for less burnout because of that. Well, technicians are no different. Technicians can be utilized in so many ways that we are not doing that in pharmacy, period. I mean, we have a vaccinating tech. We can have techs work on MTMs. We can have technicians do so much more than we're utilizing them for, because guess what? Techs get burned out too.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the same thing every day, day after day, it gets boring, you get lackadaisical, and mistakes happen. So shake them up a little bit. Put them in a different role. Give them an opportunity. You don't know who your best champion for a certain project is going to be until you assign a new person to that project. And you may have somebody that's great at social media and you never realize it because you never offered it.
Yeah.
Put someone else in charge. Let them roll.
Thank you for that, Dave. Bring us home.
Yeah, I think for me, when I first started, I found myself working in the business all the time and never really on the business. So when I kind of let go of that control and realized that other people could also do what I was doing and trust in that, I found that when I worked on the business and did some of the administrative things, I allowed time to develop those career paths for technicians to sit down and communicate and listen to the team to figure out what the problems were and recognize those problems, figure out solutions to those problems with the team. So I would say that's my biggest advice is take a moment to step out of it and evaluate what you need to do for your team and also for your business.
Great, Carrie. Thank you for that. All right, I think we've done the hot seat of questions, right? Now let's open it up to the crowd. A little Q&A session for the rest of the time we have here. If you're all ready for that. Okay. Oh, we got one right away. Vanessa. The hot mic is coming your way, Vanessa.
Thank you. Carrie, I think it was last night you were talking about when you get a new employee, you sit down with them to figure out their career path. Are there questions that you find that have been most helpful when you're navigating how to help them with that career path that you can share?
Well, I think, it's part of the hiring process. We utilize those career paths as part of the interview. So what are you doing now in your current job? What do you not enjoy about that job? What do you want to do? And we have a set list of different progressions that a technician can go through. And so, we already kind of figure it out as we're hiring them on, which gives us a good idea of what kind of employee they will be. And sometimes we are looking for employees. You have new technicians that come in, they're brand new, and immediately probably the first couple of weeks are going to be them counting and learning medication names and that kind of thing. So you do have some of those that will come in and their career path's going to be a little bit different. But yeah, then once we get in, we actually kind of develop the timeline of what that's going to look like. So once they go through the hiring process and we are onboarding them, we come up with set goals of timeline. And because we do compensate for each progression that they go through, some want to go through it very quickly and some, aren't ready to go through it very quickly. But there's an incentive there, I think, both financially, but also I just think professionally, it's rewarding to go through that progression as a technician.
That's right. Anything else to add to that? Anything across the board? Yeah, what else we got? There you go.
Hi. Just a question for all of you. Curious how you balance the time between working in the pharmacy, working on the business, enjoying your family, advocating for our profession, and what kind of balance you find there.
Love that question. I don't know if there's a straight answer. Who wants to start?
Go in the middle.
I don't know if there is a good answer to that. I think it's really situational, and I'm saying this right now because we're doing a remodel, so I'm spending way too much time. Sorry, I've had some mic trouble. Can you hear me?
Maybe I'll just do the...
Yeah, just talk into it. There you go.
TikTok thing.
You've done enough of these already, so there you go.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Melissa can speak to maybe that balance in the pharmacy because I think for pharmacists off the bench hours versus on the bench hours, it's a fine balance, and you kind of always want to be on the bench. But if we're trying to develop new programs, like that's not always the case. And I don't know. How do you strike that balance, Melissa?
I have a very long to-do list, and I have to be very diligent about, okay, today I'm going to be doing these things, and I have to give myself enough time to still be patient forward, or like with my patients, because that's very rewarding. But at the same time, there's other things that need to get done, to move the business forward, and so it's kind of just a weird balancing act. And then as far as the family time goes, some weeks are better than others.
I just bring my kids to the pharmacy.
Right.
I've also done that, yes.
Who got good? Carrie?
Yeah, I work the same amount of hours now as I did when I was just solely staffing. But what I did was I really just cut back on my staffing hours, and I actually scheduled administrative hours. So there are days that I'm in the pharmacy, that I'm in my office and I'm working. And yes, I will still go out and talk with patients or take phone calls, but in general, I really try to have my pharmacists that are there take ownership of that, so that they can field some of those things, because I really do want to focus my attention on taking care of the staff. So I really do organize my days where I'm either taking care of the patients or I'm taking care of the staff and taking care of the business. And then as a mom, that has opened up a little bit of flexibility for me. Like, for example, when I have a Christmas concert at school for my 10-year-old, if it's an administrative day, I leave and go to the Christmas concert, and then I come back. And maybe that means I stay at the pharmacy a little bit longer in that day, but it allows a little bit of flexibility for me in a way that, as a woman in the pharmacy profession, if your child is sick, you're not always able to leave. You're having to call the nearest family member to go get your child. And so it's just really important for me to prioritize that. And I feel like right now I'm in a really good balance of being able to do that. And I did have to sacrifice a little bit of those staffing hours to do so.
Great. Dave? Michaela?
I'm not a good one to talk to about this, and you know that, but because it is pharmacy 24/7, 365 for me. But I do have a short list of things that have to be accomplished within the next 3 days. Then I have a backlist of things that I want accomplished within the next 3 months. A lot of working on the business things are on that backlist. Unfortunately, sometimes that backlist gets pushed to 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, but it's never gone. And I do focus on trying to bring those, because a lot of those things on the backlist are outside revenue sources that you can bring in. But there is a time when the lady right there calls and the 3-day list is it, and you're done, and you got to go home because you got kids, you got grandkids, you got things to do so you don't get burned out. Because if you don't take time for yourself, you're not going to be there for your patients, because you're going to be a jerk or because you're going to make a mistake. And so you've really got to find that. I am still working on it, and I will probably be working on it till the day that I die. But that's what you got to do.
Michaela, anything to add as we close?
I do think work-life balance is always on Dave's list of improvements every year. But really, in independent pharmacy, I think it takes a village. It's learning to delegate when it can be delegated, and rely on the amazing staff that you have or the staff that want to do more. It's a sacrifice for your family. I couldn't do what I do and work the hours that I work without my mom being there, to help with my kids, and without my husband stepping up and being an amazing dad for our kids. But there is benefits to it too. Like you said, you can walk away and go to the Christmas concert, even if it means you go back or you go in early the next day, or you work later. That's kind of one of those things that I think you have to come to a point where you say, today is for my family or for my kids. I'm going to leave early. And you pay for it later, but that's okay.
Love that. Well, I think that's a close. That's a wrap. I want to thank you all for taking the time for doing one more panel to talk about your pharmacies. And a reminder to everyone out there that to get your voting in for Pharmacy of the Year on the IdeaShare app, you have until noon tomorrow to get your votes in. So please do that so we have the right votes, and then we'll announce the winner at the final night party. We'll stay around for Q&A for any additional questions, but we have another Pharma Talk on the other side that we need to get to. So thank you very much. Thank you all. So.